Greetings. So a lot of people are talking about this Jay-Z and Kevin Hart sit down, this conversation that they had, and the clip. This particular clip, Jay-Z talking about handouts between friends and family. And first of all, this is an old clip. So this clip came out from it was from a year ago, and is a lot of conversation around it. A lot of people are talking about it. So that's a lesson for you. Again, I don't just talk just to be talking, just say things, just be saying things. I'd always try to give out wisdom and game and lessons. And this just goes to show the power of content. So I encourage anyone, including myself, talking to myself, to just put out your content. Just put your content out there, because you never know when it's going to pick up steam, how it's going to pick up steam, what the circumstances are around it as to what makes your content go. There's a lot of times there's really no rhyme or reason. There's a lot of things that can go into why your content can take off, and it can take off at any time. It can be a year, two, or more down the line for whatever reason. So let that be an inspiration for you. Put your content out there. But anyway, this brings up the conversation of whether people are entitled or whether Jay-Z is just stingy. Billionaire. He's a billionaire, right? At least they say he's a billionaire. They say he's a billionaire. I don't believe, it's not incumbent on me to even pocket watch or to even speculate on that man's pockets at all. But I'd venture to say he's not a billionaire, at least not liquid wise. We definitely know we don't definitely know anything, but I'd venture to say he's likely not a liquid billionaire. We know Puffy recently came out and refuted the fact that he was a billionaire. He talked about him in Ciroc, not owning Ciroc. A lot of things can be smoke and mirrors with these celebrities. A lot of times they are just high net worth or high income employees, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to make a video about getting into, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, including myself, but I'm going to make a video about getting into the workforce or getting in with a small company, how you can be a number two person. You don't always have to be the number one person, but anyway, I'll get into that on another video. But is Jay-Z stingy, or are people entitled? Let's play this clip real quick.
Don't give you that,
and your cousin
you're not
your cousins in your grandma's living room saying, "Yo, man, I got this play. I wanna, if you just give me, you know what I mean, 4,800, I could make you 2 million." You like, it don't work like that, fam. And you got to explain to him, like, life isn't like that.
And he's absolutely right. Life isn't like that. I mean, in this situation, I don't know if he's using hyperbole or if he was actually telling the true story about how a cousin could come up with a scheme or a plan for $5,000 turned into $2 million. Anyone who can do that in 5 years is exceptional. That's highly unlikely that someone can turn $5,000 into $2 million in a relatively short amount of time. Again, even a 5-year timeline of turning $5,000 into $2 million is it should raise a whole lot of speculation, a whole lot of questions. But in his case, if he is a billionaire, if he is anywhere close to being a billionaire, that's the equivalent, I read somewhere, with his income and his net worth. Him giving his cousin $5,000 would be the equivalent of a normal person making anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 giving a dime away. A dime. I know me. I haven't touched that amount of money, but I know me. I give. Not to brag, not to put me on any type of pedestal, but I give. Like, if I got excess. When I have excess, I give. And in this case, I would have gave the $5,000 even if I knew it wasn't coming back. But then again, I understand, just to play both sides, I understand the principle behind it. I understand you can't just always give out money every time, all the time. I'm not, and he's been in his position for quite a long time, so I can imagine the frequency, the amount of times he's been approached with, and we're talking specifically with friends and family. I can only imagine the amount of times he's been approached with business plans, with sob stories, things of that nature. So you, again, like he said, you have to navigate. You have to learn how to navigate that. And there's a lot of conversation, and people get very emotional about other people's money and what they should do with their money. And to me, that's just a motivation. It's just motivation for me to put myself in position to where if I can help someone, and a lot of times, and see, the thing with investment, the things with money that you have to understand is that every investment is a risk. Every time you put your money into, what I was taught by some of my trader mentors, when, as far as investing in the stock market, is that never give more than you can afford to lose. Never put in, invest, trade with more than you can afford to lose. That applies to your energy, that applies to your love, any type of resources, and of course to your money. And because when you invest the money, when you invest in something, you should expect. Now you have a hope to win, but you should expect on the downside to lose all of that money. That's the mindset that you have to go into it with investing. And so I remember back in the 90s, I got on my mom's side of the family, we got a pretty big family. Between my mom, it was like 7, 8 of them. My grandma's kids, she had 6, 7, 8. I don't know. I'm not even trying to count right now. My grandma had 7, 8 kids. All her kids, my mom included, they each had at least 2 or 3 kids. And then my grandma, her brothers and sisters, between them, it was like 12 of them. So they all had kids. So we had and we were a lot closer back in the late 80s and the 90s. I remember in the early 90s, I remember us being a whole one big unit, especially because the grandmothers were still alive. They were like they were the foundation of everything, the center of everything, and then of course their kids, and you know how it goes. Y'all, especially y'all from the South, y'all know how families can get. But I remember we had one particular cousin that was talented in football, went to college, and during their senior year, it became apparent that they would seriously be a NFL prospect. And I remember my older cousins, who were a lot closer to him, they saw him more frequently. They just more into, they just knew him better than I did. But I remember them talking about all the things that this cousin was going to buy them, what they were going to do when he made it to the NFL. And I remember just having an awareness and an understanding, even at that young age. I couldn't, because this would have been like the early 90s. I believe he got drafted in like 94, 95. So I wouldn't have been no more than 8 and 9 at the time. And I remember just having an awareness that his money don't belong to me. He's not entitled to buy me anything, even though I knew him, talked to him a little bit, interacted with him, not as much as my older cousins, of course. But I remember just having an understanding and awareness that, one, I don't think he's going to make that much money. Again, I'm not pocket watching. I'm never one to pocket watch, but just having an understanding, even at that young age, that I don't think he's going to make that much money to take care of all these people and all their expectations and all their wants, let alone their needs. Most of these are just wants. Nobody's in dire straits, so anything above that would just be some wants. And sure enough, he got drafted, went to the NFL. I believe, NFL stands for not for long. So he had a decent 4 or 5 year stint, I believe, which is, hey, that's commendable. He made it there, and he was able to sustain for enough time And then I believe he ended up just taking football to the fullest extent, coaching, training camps, all that type, that all that good stuff. So he's been able to maintain a decent lifestyle through football, but nowhere near buying these go-karts and everything that my cousins were talking about. He never, when he was drafted and moved away, he took care of his mom and I believe his sister, and that was it. And he never, not to cast anything on him, but life took him in that direction, and he never really made it back to the country where we were. He never bought us our go-karts and things like that. I never expected it anyway, and that's just what life is. You got to understand that you have to be. Money is not infinite. It is in one aspect. In a metaphysical, I'm not even gonna get into that. In a metaphysical sense, money is infinite. It's abundant because it's energy, and energy is always existing. But let's be clear that there are limits to money and the flow of it, and you have to be prudent. That's why investing is important. That's why setting up different streams of income is important, and that's why it's important to. And I don't know Jay-Z's situation, because I find it interesting that there's this other clip that he talks about.
Is that all based on relationships?
To be on something, pretty much every song that I'm on,
where he talks about how he doesn't charge for features. I thought that was pretty interesting. How he's talking about relationships. How he doesn't charge these artists who already have a budget or have money or whatever position that they're in, and he doesn't charge them. And I thought that was interesting how he get not charge them in their position, but then deny his cousin. But then you also have to consider the fact that you give a certain type of person, you got to understand, as a coach, you got to know your personnel. As a parent, you got to know your children. As an employee, you got to know as an employer, you have to know your employees. So the makeup of the people that you're dealing with, and you have to know, if I give this person money, their track record, their character, their knowledge, their skills, what are they going to do with this money? And perhaps his train of thought is, if I'm dealing with an artist, they're already in a trajectory of creating, in a trajectory of generating things. So me giving this handout to them, basically in the form of a verse, is just perpetuating that, is contributing to that. If I give this person who doesn't have any business acumen, doesn't have any sense of how to handle this money, the flow possibly could stop right there. They could come back. They could, it's a whole lot of nuance to it. I understand what Jay-Z is saying, and again, people get real emotional about pocket watching, especially celebrities, and what they would do with their money. And at the end of the day, get you some money like him so that you can do what you think he should do. And that's my whole thing. I don't speculate on people's money. I don't care about what's going on. All I care about is what's going on in my life and what I can do for my family, my community, and the outgrowth of that. And again, put your content out there, because content can live, content can grow legs at any time. And I believe right now is imperative to really participate in the creator economy. I participate, do music. One day I do make beats. One day I'm gonna try to get a beat to Jay-Z. I might do that one day. I am gonna do that. So fuck it, why not? He used to be one of my favorite rappers. Not so much now that I've grown. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that conversation. I'm starting a music channel on another channel. Okay. Also, you want to hear me talk music? I'm a musicologist. You can hear me talk about that channel. I'll leave. Depending on when you see this video, I may leave a link to that channel. I don't have the channel right now, but anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. So peace and blessings. Like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna be coming with more content, just commentary on things, me just talking, me just practicing my voice, really, man, getting it out there, and I want to demonstrate in real time to you how to get your content out there, how to create your content, how to think about your content, how to think about your digital product and services, all that jazz. So peace and blessings. Avail yourself of all my information below this video. Watch some other videos. Watch out for more videos. Peace and blessings. Take care.